246.
We're on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. Okay, so for today we're looking at Tractate Ta'anit, which are fasts.
546?
No,
246.
246. And ashes, there's a whole piece about ashes. Now I'm thinking maybe that's where we got Ash Wednesday, or the Christians did. And then there's a piece about praying for rain and Honi Hamagal. So Honi the circle maker, I'm assuming we're going to do that. All right, so starting at 246, this is the beginning of the tractate. It's going to give us a little background on it.
The tractate opens with rules as to when two short prayers should be inserted in the tefillah. The declaration of God's might, that is, He who makes the wind blow and the rain fall.
Okay, where is that usually?
In fifth paragraph.
In the which section of the Amidah? In Avot? In Givorot? Givorot. Yeah, yes, that's it.
He who makes?
The wind
is
blow
throughout
and the rain.
Throughout the winter, the request for rain, grant rain and dew was not said until pilgrims to Jerusalem had returned to their distant homes after the New Year festival cycle, and the time varied according to location. Both prayers remain in the liturgy. The rainy season in Israel begins in late autumn. If no rain had fallen by the 17th of Heshvan, which is like late October, early November, the court would initiate a series of progressively more severe fasts on which people would pray for rain. Much of the tractate is concerned with these and other fasts to forestall calamity. The first three fasts were for scholars only.
And so why would that be?
Maybe because they knew about it, maybe because they studied this tractate. Sure. If there was no rain by the following month by Kislev, the court would declare three public fasts. These would be followed by another three, then 7 is required on Mondays and Thursdays. Well, that's interesting.
So along with the days when Torah would be read.
Yep. I was just going to say, that's what the conservatives do.
References to trumpeting priests and to courses of priests. What do you mean?
Courses, so in terms of who and at what time. So which groups or families were responsible?
Oh, the shifts, like
Shifts,
shift.
that's it.
Suggest temple times, but other features relate to later period, like post-temple times.
And could you pick up the note?
The footnote. Evidence that Mondays and Thursdays was especially propitious for fasting, for prayer and fasting, comes from the Christian Didache,
Not sure, but yeah.
written in around 120. Let not your fast be with the hypocrites, for they fast on Mondays and Thursdays, but do you fast on Wednesdays and Fridays?
Okay, so the Christian practice was Wednesday, Friday. The Jewish practice was Monday, Thursday, along with the times when Torah was read.
But also Torah was read on Mondays, Thursday, because at the time Ezra instituted it, this was the market day.
Exactly.
Which are just fairly
Market day?
just amazing.
Market, when people would come into market, the shops were not open 5-7 days a week, whatever. So people would come to town on certain days, bring all their wares. So Mondays and Thursdays were the days. So Mondays and Thursdays when Torah was read. Mondays and Thursdays were the times when fasts were done. So, and a propitious time, at least according to Jewish lore. Okay, Mishnah?
Mishnah. What is the procedure for rain fast? They take the prayer lectern into the town square and spread ashes on it and on the heads of the president and chief justice, and everyone spreads ashes on his own head. The most senior president addresses them with words of reproof. Brethren, it is not said of the men of the Nineveh that God saw their sackcloth and their fasting.
Okay, wait, let's back up. Nineveh? What is that a reference to?
Jonah?
Yes. Remember, that was the whole deal with Jonah. He was like supposed to go to Nineveh, didn't want to go to Nineveh, ended up in a fish, not at Nineveh, but eventually at Nineveh.
He got distracted.
He wanted to be distracted, yes.
And God saw their deeds, that they had repented of their evil ways. Likewise, the prophet says, rend your hearts, not your garments. They stand in prayer, and the prayers are led by one who is venerable and fluent, who has children, but whose house is bare, so that his prayer will be heartfelt. So you're supposed to get your kids out of your house before, or everybody out of the house and you're supposed to pray alone?
I think
No.
I think refers to possessions.
Yes, so in general,
Oh, okay. Mishnah details 24 blessings and the accompanying blasts on horns and trumpets, then continues. On the first 3 fasts, the members of the course of priests serving that week fast, but do not complete the fast. On the
okay, so let's drop the footnote there to hear about this.
They
course
fast
of-
only in the daytime, not the previous evening. Liturgical days run from sunset one evening to starlight the next. There are 24 hours of Kohanim, as listed in Chronicles, each in turn serving in the temple for a week.
24 courses.
Courses, so this is how we're defining
Okay.
courses.
24
Courses.
Therefore, 24 shifts. Wow.
The courses were each subdivided into 7 fathers' houses, one to serve on each day of the week for clarity. I have translated serving family rather than father's house. And I noticed that too on the Chabad calendar when I look to see if I'm allowed to call Sarah one day or another. I check, and it'll say it'll be a fast, but it'll tell me if it's
Whether
a day fast
or
or if
not.
it's a 24-hour fast, because I know I can't call her on the days that because I don't always know. So I check the Chabad calendar, and it'll say there's a fast. So it'll say from sunrise to sunset. But it won't say sunrise to sun, it'll say fast starts, fast ends, and then I'll know, because she won't respond if I call on the wrong day.
And
that's
there
fine.
is, and I'm thinking, and I can't remember exactly the number of fasts, but I want to say about 12 maybe.
That are
during the
day
year.
fast.
Well, I don't know about, like, in
Yeah.
general, we've got
Mhm.
about 12 throughout the year, and
Right.
many of them are day fasts. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
actually a number.
Yeah,
Obviously, we know about Yom Kippur, but
Right.
there's actually a fast of Gedalia,
Oh,
fast
yeah,
of,
there's all kinds.
firstborn, fast of
Right.
this, fast of that,
Yeah,
right?
there is a Esther and Gedalia in Yom Kippur. This is 3 that I knew.
Okay, but there's actually a number of them.
there's
so-
lots of them that are like 12-hour fasts, sunrise to
Oh.
sunset fast. And there's a lot of those, and I have to check before I call certain people.
In American society, I have to just say from like a very secular perspective,
Mhm.
that fasts at some level are a great thing because it gives us a knowledge that we can actually survive without eating 3 to 5 meals a day,
Right.
right? Because I mean, that tends
It's
to be our
also,
culture.
Yeah. It's cleansing.
And there's that. I mean,
yeah.
at least in terms of a detox and that's a whole, level of physical kind of thing.
But isn't the Jewish fast the spiritual fast?
Absolutely.
That's the spiritual cleanse.
Right. That really is kind of our fundamental bottom
Yeah.
line, especially when we think about Yom Kippur. We think about fast in relation to how we are going to be like angels, wear white, connect, all of those things at
Yeah.
Yom Kippur.
Not necessarily suffering, but cleansing.
right.
It's a positive thing, cleansing. Yeah, that's the way I think of it.
Well, it gives the body a rest, so if it's giving the body
Sure.
a rest, then that's,
Right.
Somebody-
From the gut, having all the.
Somebody
when I was
joins us.
young, it was very difficult to keep 24. I
I don't know
could
who's
think
doing
about
Of
it.
course,
Someone
right.
else here, yes.
But now, I didn't find it cleansing at all. I found all I can
Difficult.
think about food. And now I don't care so much, for some reason, whatever. It's also helps if you don't have to run to work.
Sure. Yeah.
Like in Israel, it's very easy to keep this fast for me now. Because the entire family is sitting at home and just talking away.
He's leaving.
But when I was young, particularly there, you just kind of drink water.
Right.
I couldn't think about anything there except food and water for 24 hours.
In the Ukraine?
No, in
In
Israel.
Israel.
Oh, in Israel.
It's
Yeah.
hot and
It's hot and it's hard.
and
Yes.
hard.
But it's amazing. I think you can go up to 7 days without water, depending upon the circumstances, and possibly even longer.
Yeah, and also depending upon the person's physical
Person's
constitution to
physical
begin with.
constitution.
So,
Right,
Very
right.
important.
okay, so keep going.
Okay. Let's
We were at footnote 2,
see.
so just after that. Just
Well,
after
but I didn't
15B.
finish that, I don't think I finished the regular, yeah, I
Right,
didn't.
correct. So
Okay,
just
so-
after 15B, so we're picking up now.
All right, so
you
on
can
the
see
first of the
these-
3 fasts, the members of the course, a priest serving that week fast but do not complete the fast. On the second 3, the members of the course fast and complete, and the members of the serving family fast but do not complete. On the final 7, both groups complete. This is the view of Rabbi Joshua, but the other sages say neither of these groups observes the first three fasts. On the second three, the members of the course fast but do not complete, and the members of the serving family do not fast at all. On the final 7, the members of the course fast and complete, and the members of the serving family fast but do not complete. This sounds like a matrix thing for you, Alan. You know, your
Who's
little
fasting
computer.
and when?
Yeah, just like a matrix, so we can just follow along.
So you can see on the side of the page in the margin where it goes from 15a, which was the daf that started, our Mishnah was on, and now we're on 15b. So we're on just a different page. So those are the references on the side there. So Diana would pick up Gemara, please.
What is the procedure for rain fasts? They take the prayer lectern into the town square. Did this happen even with the initial fast? As against that, on the first 3 and the second 3 fasts, they enter the synagogue and pray as they do the rest of the year. But on the last 7, they take the prayer lectern into the town square and spread ashes on it. On the heads of the president and the chief justice, and everyone spreads ashes on his own head. Rabbi Nathan says, they brought ashes from the roast.
So what roast are they thinking about here?
Is it an offering? They brought ashes from the roast?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Rabbi Papa said, our Mishnah too is speaking of the last 7 fasts. The Mishnah states, on the head of the president, and then everyone spreads, etc. How can this be? Doesn't a Baraita teach, Rabbi says, with the dignity start from the greater, with injury from the lesser? With dignity start from the greater, as it is said, and Moses spoke to Aaron and to his remaining sons, Eleazar and Itmar, Leviticus 10:12, with injury from the lesser, for we find Genesis 3 that the serpent was cursed first, then Eve, and then Adam. Putting ashes on their heads is, according them, dignity, for it signifies you are worthy enough to pray for all of us. Everyone spreads ashes on his own head. Rabbi Ada asked, if everyone spreads ashes on his head, let the president and chief justice do likewise. Why should other people put ashes on them? Rabbi Abba of Caesarea said, one who humbles himself is not like the one who is humbled by others. On which part of the head are the ashes placed? Rabbi Isaac said, in the position of the tefillin, as it is said, to provide for the mourners in Zion, to give them glory rather than ashes. Why do they go?
So on the footnote there.
Okay, tefillin are understood as a glory.
Okay, so that's why they're suggesting that's where the ashes go. And I'm not really familiar with, I don't know if anybody knows, there's a whole thing about Ash Wednesday, and people in Catholic groups.
I think they put the ash just right here.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
And they'll even go in public
I'm
some.
familiar with exactly the custom or the meaning behind it, but I know that this is the only place that I've really seen, because I can remember when some people would come to school and I'm like, what is it on your forehead?
Mhm.
It was.
Let me get a handkerchief and we'll clean it off for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we could look at it. I could look it up real quick.
So,
Well,
this
we
would
do
seem to
know
be where it
that-
harkens back to.
We do know that's when they start their Lent,
That's
because
at the beginning, okay,
Fat
so,
Tuesday is when they completely party, get totally drunk, and eat everything, and then they make a promise during Lent to give up something they love. That's why they give up, meat on Friday or something like that. It all starts in their Lent. I won't smoke cigarettes, or something I really love. They have to give it up for Lent.
Which begins 40 days prior to Easter. Sundays are not included in the count. Lent is a time when many Christians prepare for Easter by observing a period of fasting, repentance, moderation, and spiritual discipline.
so Ash
during-
Wednesday?
Ash
Yeah.
Wednesday is the
Services, the
beginning.
minister will lightly rub the sign of the cross with ashes into the forehead of the worshipers.
However,
Must be the
non-
Wednesday
non-Catholic-
after the vote, I guess.
Say it
No,
again?
In terms
Well,
of
backwards,
timing,
so it's
I'm thinking it's prior to, it's
Yeah.
probably about the time we're doing Omer,
Yeah.
because Passover and Easter.
40
depending
days,
upon
you said?
when the
Yeah.
vernal
And
equinoxes
Omer
or
is
whatever.
40 days. Isn't
49.
Omer
49.
Okay,
Going
so
to 50. So there's some similarities there, and this is the only place that I can remember reading in Judaism where there are ashes that are actually put on the head, in particular on the forehead, which is kind
But
of
I
an
think
interesting piece.
Hindus do a lot with ashes too, don't they? Like they make sure that their bodies are cremated in public and.
Well, true, but I mean,
and-
in terms, do they put ashes on
You
their
know,
head?
I don't know, but they always have their dot. Maybe that.
But not ashes.
No,
Not ashes.
maybe it's a symbol.
Would have to read further in where the origins of it came from.
Well, here we see.
Right.
So we know this is like 200 or prior to, because if we find it in Mishnah. So,
By the way, non-Catholic Christians don't participate in Lent.
Yes,
Protestants.
no, they do. This says, not all Christian churches observe Ash Wednesdays or Lent. They are mostly observed by Lutheran, Methodist, Presbyterian, Anglican denominations, and also by Roman Catholics. Eastern Orthodox churches observe Lent or Great Lent during the 6 weeks or 40 days preceding Palm Sunday. So actually, quite a few denominations do.
If it was found, if the
But
foundation
But
was
the
Catholicism.
Orthodox, the Eastern Orthodox,
Methodists.
doesn't it?
Methodist is
I think
Episcopalian
it
is a
depends
spin-off.
on
This
the-
says
Yeah,
Methodist,
probably
Lutheran,
there are
Presbyterian,
different,
Anglican denominations do with Roman
times
Catholic.
For when we, observe Passover, but Passover and Easter are sometime in the spring. So whether one comes before or after the other, I think it probably depends upon other
But
joint calendars.
this counting of the Lent, they
Right.
suggest to be before the Easter, not like Shavuot we count
So,
over after.
so Lent is prior to Easter?
Yes, that's what you said.
Lent
Is
is
that
always
correct?
prior before Easter.
Okay,
It
so Lent
happens.
is prior to Easter.
It
Ash
happens-
Wednesday marks the first day of the start of the season of Lent, which begins 40 days prior to Easter.
Okay, so, there you go.
I'll make it easy for you.
Easter-
Ash Wednesday is the day after Mardi Gras.
Well,
Mardi Gras
yeah.
is the party day. Absolutely get
But
it all out of your
Mardi
system.
Gras might not actually be synonymous with Ash Wednesday, even though they coincide.
It's Fat Tuesday, and then
Yeah,
it's Ash
but it is
Wednesday.
referred to as Fat Tuesday. I've
It's
heard
Fat
that.
Tuesday, then it's Ash Wednesday. I grew up with I grew up in Miami with all Catholics, Cubans and Catholics, and Juvens too. There were Cuban Jews.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're at the bottom paragraph there.
Wait, are we going to let the sexist remark about even Adam pass?
Yes,
What?
yeah,
Well, Adam was cursed last.
yes.
Oh, I see. So are we
So-
not going to, okay, in terms of from curse, the lesser to the greater. Thank you for sharing that piece. And yes, I hear that. And this is Talmud, so we give them a little grain of salt here.
I see.
So, yeah, they haven't moved into the egalitarian system. And really, as sexist remarks go, I could find probably 20 that are flaming. This is just
Well,
hardly even on
also-
the Richter scale.
Not showing up yet.
Also, the men rapping to fill in, the Cinder Citizens of Glory,
Oh, well, there's that. Of
Actually,
course.
we're not an egalitarian society after last Tuesday's vote.
What did
That-
it have to do?
The Congress or the Senate voted that women cannot have equal pay.
Our Congress?
Yeah.
Well, that one maybe.
It's 2012, and it's like we're back in the suffrage days.
And Anat Hoffman is on her project of, equal rights to the Western Wall, so, to the Kotel.
Why do they go out into the town square? Rabbi Hia bar Abba said, "It is as if to say, we cried out in private but were not answered. We will now abase ourselves openly." Reish Lakish said, "We have exiled ourselves from our homes. May our exile atone for us." What practical difference is there between the two opinions? They would differ as to whether it would be sufficient to move from one synagogue to another. Why do they take the prayer lectern into the town square? Rabbi Joshua ben Levi said, "It is as if to say we had a modest vessel to carry our prayer, but through our sins it has been demeaned."
So in other words, this is a symbolic method of saying, we're very sorry, and now we're gonna move the prayer lectern out to the middle of the town square.
So like exposing our inequities
Something,
and
right.
teshuva, we're returning, we're
Right.
not just repenting, because that's so.
Interesting, the note 4 that we didn't read, which is.
We will need to catch up on that.
Okay, so footnote 4, Rabbi Hia bar Abba's theory, it would not do for the synagogue is not open on Resh Lakesh. It would be all right, since the move to another synagogue is an exile of sorts.
You know, and who knew the different definitions of exile?
Okay. Why do they wear a sackcloth? Rabbi Hia bar Abba said, it is as if to say we are but animals. Why do they spread ashes on the prayer lectern? Rabbi Judah ben Pazi said, it is as if to say, I will be with him in distress.
So in 5.
The prayer lectern is a symbol of God's presence. Resh Lakesh said, in all their troubles, he was troubled. Rabbi Zera says, when I first saw the rabbi spread ashes on the prayer lectern, my whole body trembled. Why does each individual put ashes on his head? Rabbi Levi bar Hama and Rabbi Hanina just differed on this. One said, it is as if to say, we are like ashes before you. The other said, it is a reminder of the ashes of Isaac.
Okay, so 2 different rationales as to why we use ashes. First being, we're like ash before you. Second, because of the ashes of Isaac. Usually it's we bring the merit of the Avot and say, God, you know, due to what you had told our ancestors, please be gracious to us. So
Does anybody use ashes?
I have never seen ashes.
Or sackcloths, but I've read references once
Ashes
in a
and
while.
sackcloth, yes, I mean, but not in terms of current practice that I'm familiar with, that I've seen, that I've, you know,
But
even
are they
heard of.
ashes of wood or are they ashes of?
Well, this is really the question, so read this next sentence here.
Okay, the other said it is a reminder of the ashes of Isaac. What is the difference? The difference would be if someone used plain earth.
And with regard to the footnote,
It would symbolize abasement, but not correspond to the ashes of the sacrifice offered in place of Isaac.
so in other words, no dirt on the prayer lectern, but ashes, yes. So ashes from the roast, whether that has to do with the
ram?
lamb, yeah, or it has to do with,
But we don't have we
The
don't have
roast
this
from the temple.
sacrifice anymore. Therefore,
right, so we don't have ashes.
we don't have this.
But we don't. But back then, it's not the ashes of the wood that they used to build
No,
fire.
no, this
It
is-
was actually of
This
the,
is
of the
making,
sacrifice.
yeah,
Okay.
this is making reference to the ram that
Yeah.
was supplemented for Isaac.
Well, no, I mean when they say of the roast, they mean the
Sacrifice.
the daily sacrifices at the temple,
Right.
right? Which then represent Isaac also.
Right.
Right. So
So it's an animal product.
So
is
when
what
we
I was trying to
stopped,
get
when we
to.
stopped doing,
Yes.
when after the destruction of the temple, they couldn't have this. So
Okay.
And there's also, the only other reference that readily comes to mind with regard to ashes is the ashes of the red heifer. And since there's no red heifer, there's no ashes, and therefore all of us are arguably tameh as opposed to tahor, because we've at some level been in contact with dead bodies.
why don't they explain this? This was all
Which
written post 67.
Ah,
Why don't they have a big footnote here that says, well, of course we don't do ashes anymore. But someday the temple will be
because
rebuilt.
because then we would have less to talk about.
Maybe Aiden Steinenzalt does.
Perhaps Indeed Steinsaltz does, and the Koran, the new one, is in color. If you buy like the
With
$50
pictures.
version, it's literally in color. If you get the Daf Yomi version, it's black and white, but they do have a color version, and it's supposed to be published just in advance of Daf Yomi. So Daf Yomi starts on August 2nd, so if you're reading, you know, an Amud a day, a page a day somewhere, then you can do that with the Koran translation or the Koran
I did order the
publication.
book.
Which
So I
one?
got the first, well, just the first one, because the
But
next
which
one is
one?
being
But which
printed.
one?
Oh, I'd have to look.
So there's one in color. There's
color.
one in black and white.
No, I got color. I don't like
So color
black and
is
white.
like 50, black and white is like 40, and there's apparently going to be the iPad version
Per volume.
per volume.
Oh, and you can have them automatically.
Volumes or
You
something.
can have them automatically charge you, so every time they publish the next one, you automatically get it.
The-
I said no.
The next
just send
one
me
that's
the
coming
one.
out is Shabbat. You can pre-order that. So
Right.
it's available if you're
Talmud
if you're
Bavli Brachot, that's the one that,
Brachot is where they're starting. 'cause
Right,
that's
and
the-
it's
that
published.
traditional starting
that's coming now. That one I ordered, and I didn't tell them to pre-order anything else, because I'll figure that out as I go.
So it's interesting that they're choosing brachot to start with because there's two schools of thought. One is to start with brachot, the other is to start with Bava Metzia. So when I started learning Talmud, we started with Bava Metzia with Rabbi Shochet, who was coming for Rabbi Meredith Khan's installation on the last weekend of
The
June.
29th?
And we'll be doing a Talmud session in the afternoon at North Tahoe in basically Rabbi Meredith's honor.
Saturday afternoon?
Yes, I believe so. I don't have the
Wait a
complete
minute,
schedule, but
so
this is my
is
understanding.
is her installation after your party, or?
Yes, we're doing Simchat, it's not.
What?
But the party for Temple Beth or Simchat Sunday, which
It'd be
is,
the Sunday.
would be this Sunday.
It's 2 weeks from yesterday?
Yes. So then the next one is her installation, which is the last weekend in June. It's
Yeah.
Friday night, and actually apparently I'm doing part of the Friday night piece, and then I think I might be landing on Saturday, but I'm not 100% sure at this point. So I'll be there and thrilled to be there. So you are certainly all welcome.
Saturday?
I'm sorry, Rabbi Shofet is going to be there to do a blessing on Friday night with chuppah and congregation and greet and, whatever kind of thing. And then, has she been there about a year? No, maybe 9 months or something. I can't remember when she exactly started.
Might be a year.
Last year.
It's real close to a year.
So, anyway, so then Saturday is when the study is. It's a 50-minute drive, 50, so.
There's no place like home. Pick your heels 3 times.
So if you want to take some passengers,
You'd like to go.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like when you call me and say, "Hey, you want
Let's
to be
go to
here in
Tahoe.
45 minutes?"
Yeah, I'll sign up for a car.
Yeah. Now, what happened to the Moish Benz? It's gone, right?
Yes.
So
The Moish Benz.
that's what we call. Yeah,
Oh, that's
Moish.
funny.
Yeah. So did you get a new car?
It's in the Woiks.
It's in the Woiks.
Thinking about it.
A
Okay,
new
so
Moish.
where are we at? Last paragraph here, yeah?
Okay, let's see, where are we at in the last paragraph? Why does each of, we did that, so it's in the italics.
Okay.
Honi, Abba, Hilkiah, and Hanina, ben Dosa were charismatic miracle workers in Galilee from the 1st century BCE onward. The stories told about their healing activities and apparent familiarity with God are similar to those told about Jesus. Simon ben Shattah demonstrates the wariness with which they were regarded by the establishment. Interesting.
And so this is our famous story, and I know we've studied this at least once before, if not more than that.
Well,
So Honi the Circle Maker, Honi Hamagal, we did it with Dean Steinsaltz, we did Global Day of Jewish Learning. So
well, just as a side note, in the grammar books, he's famous.
Who is?
Honi the Circle Maker. He's always part of the lessons.
Did you
He
guys?
was with Nitsa, and it was from out of the book that we worked with.
Or me.
So it's a pretty classic, he's pretty classic to use in the grammar lessons and learning Hebrew. Honi.
He doesn't want to share. I'll share with you if you want. Rab, he can have this book and also.
No, he's leaving. Did you leave my phone? Okay. All right, so take care, be well. All right. Okay, Honi the Circle Maker. You with it?
The rabbis taught once most of Adar had passed and no rain had fallen. They sent the Honi, the circle maker, pray for rain. He said to them, "Go and fetch in your Passover ovens so they do not disintegrate in the rain." 8. This sentence, lacking in the Baraita but preserved in the Mishnah, is needed to demonstrate his boastfulness about his close relationship with God and to explain his drawing of the circle and Shimon ben Shettach's reprimand.
Okay, so the Passover ovens were apparently out
Out of clay.
and out of clay, and they were outside. So if it rained a lot, they were going to disintegrate.
He was so sure of his powers.
Absolutely, yes, he was.
Who is going to disintegrate?
The Passover ovens were going to melt.
Clay ovens, if it rains a lot.
They would just
They-
turn to soft clay and just,
Yeah.
okay.
He prayed, but no rain fell. He drew a circle and stood in the middle of it, just as the prophet Habakkuk had done, as it said, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower." He addressed God Lord of the universe, your children have turned to me as one of your family. I swear by your great name that I will not budge from here until you show mercy to your children. Rain began to fall in drips. His disciples said to him, Master, with the greatest respect, it seems to us that this meager rain is falling just to absolve you from your oath.
Okay, so the little
We
piece.
have looked upon you, may we not die.
So this was the way that they were saying with greatest respect. By the way, we have something to tell you. Seems like it's just a little bit of rain here instead of a lot. What's the scoop?
Honi again addressed God. This is not what I asked for, but rain to fill wells, ditches, and caves. At this rain pours down in torrents, in drops as large as the aperture of a barrel. The sages estimate that none was less than a log. His disciples said to him, Master, with the greatest respect, it looks to us that if the rain falls like this, it will destroy the world.
Okay, so too little rain. Now it's going to be a big flood.
And it's also different words in Hebrew for this kind of rain, that kind of
Yes,
rain.
that's true. We often ask for rain as a blessing.
But I think you're saying that a rain shower is different than a torrent in Hebrew. Is that what you're saying? Like a torrent or a sprinkle or
Well,
a drizzle is different in Hebrew?
From Geshem, which is the Geshem that you ask for. You
right,
ask for
Yes.
for rain.
for Geshem, not Matar. Matar, I think it's very strong.
Like flooding rains.
Only again address God. This is not what I asked for, but rain of goodwill, blessing, and generosity. The rain then fell in just measure, but persisted until the people were forced to ascend to the Temple Mount on account of it. They said to Honi, Master, just as you prayed for it, come to see it.
Okay, because everybody's backed up on the Temple Mount because there's like a lot of rain flowing around.
He replied, my tradition is that one does not pray to remove an excess of good. Still bring me an ox to offer by way of thanksgiving. They brought him an ox to make his thanksgiving offering. He laid his hand on it and declared, Lord of the universe, your people Israel, whom you brought out of Egypt, cannot abide excess of either good or evil. When you were angry with them, they could not endure it. When you showered them with goodness, they could not endure it. May it be your will that the rain stop and reliefs come to the world. At once the wind blew, the cloud disappeared, the sun shone, and people went out to the courtyard and gathered mushrooms.
Okay, mushrooms because it had been so wet for so long.
Shimon bar Shebach said to Honi, were you anyone but Honi, I would excommunicate you.
Okay, so Rabbi Shimon ben Shattach was ready to excommunicate Honi.
If these were the days of Elijah, to whom the keys of rain were entrusted, would not your actions be profane? Would not your actions have profaned the name of heaven? The reprimand is presumably directed at Honi's confidence that God will send copious rain, even though drought had been decreed. Honi appears to be thwarting God's will. But what can I do, seeing that you play mischievously before the Holy One, blessed be He, and He gives in to whatever you want, like a mischievous child whose father gives in to him. If he says, Daddy, bath me this hot water, give me a cold shower, give me walnuts, almonds, peaches, pomegranates, his father lets him have what he wants.
Okay, so what is he saying about Honi?
So he's behaving like a child.
Yes, a mischievous child at that. And that God, Allah, is giving it to him.
Of you, Scripture says, your father and mother are happy, she that bore you rejoices.
The rabbis taught, what message did the men of the chamber of hewn stone send to Honi? Okay, so what was this chamber of hewn stone? The seat of the Sanhedrin, the high court, and the temple. And there's several references to this, quote, chamber of hewn stone, where the Sanhedrin sat. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he will hear thee. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. And light shall shine upon thy ways. When they cast thee down, thou shalt say, There is lifting up for the lowly person, he saith. He delivereth him that is not innocent. So several English translations omit not, but the Talmud's reading, at least according to this editor, says is. So, yea, thou shalt be delivered through the cleanness of thy hands. Of Job. Thou shalt also decree a thing. You decreed on earth below, and the Holy One, blessed be he, fulfills your word in heaven. And light shall shine upon thy ways. Through your prayer you have brought light unto a generation that was in darkness. When they cast thee down, thou shalt say, There is lifting up. You have raised through your prayer the generation that was lowly. For the lowly person he saveth. You have saved through your prayer the generation that was sunk in sin. He delivereth him that is not innocent. You have saved them through the purity of your deeds. So now Honi, like Rumpelstiltskin, is off to sleep for 70 years.
Rabbi Yohanan said, all that life is all his life long, that good man, Honi, was troubled by the verse. When the Lord returns the captives of Zion, it was as if we had dreamed. He wondered, is it possible to fall asleep and dream for 70 years?
Oh, what a bad question to ask.
One day he was out walking and saw a man plant a carob tree. He asked him, when will it bear fruit? In 70 years. Time, the other replied. Honi said, are you so sure it will live 70 years? Are you so sure you will live 70 years? The man replied, I entered a world in which carob trees have been planted. As my fathers planted for me, I plant for my sons. Honi sat down, broke bread, and dozed off. A grotto formed around him.
Okay, this is
Probably meaning Rashi understood the rare word mishnita as a tooth or a projection of rock.
okay, so he's now got rock around him and he's snoozing.
Usually a grotto has water though too, like a moat.
Although
So-
this is an English editor, so it's hard to know. And Rashi seems to, you're right, I'll concur.
They might
Grottos
just-
are often filled with water
It's
and
usually like a
fern-like.
cave with water, so maybe they're thinking it's a cave. He's encased somehow.
The carbonite encased.
There you go.
Carbonite?
He did sleep for 70 years, so maybe it's a Superman thing.
Star Wars.
Oh, sorry, thank you, yes.
When he awoke, he saw a man pluck fruit from the carob tree. He said, are you the one who planted it? The man replied, I am its grandson. Honi thought to himself, I must have slept for 70 years. He saw that generation of foals had descended from his donkey. He went home and inquired, is Honi the circle maker's son alive? They replied, his son is no longer here, but his grandson is. He said to them, I am Honi the circle maker, but they refused to believe him. He entered the house of study and heard the students remark, the lectures are as clear as in the days of Honi the circle maker, who could answer every question the students put to him when he entered the house of study. He said, I am he, but no one would believe him, nor would they accord him any respect he deserved. He became depressed and prayed to die.
Okay, remember, we also have this story with regard to Moshe and Rabbi Akiva, right? So that they have this kind of projection, they're in a different time and space, and that there's not a lot of respect given to Moshe. And Moshe is very upset because he doesn't understand what's going on in that classroom of Rabbi Akiva. So this is another similar theme here.
That's the meaning of the proverb, companions or death. It's a story of Honi's grandson.
Okay, so these are very famous stories that, this little piece of Ta'anit, in terms of tractates, this is one of the ones that's very classic. So it's Honi, the one who falls asleep in the carob tree. The guy asks the guy, do you think you're going to live long enough to see this carob tree grow? So.
Abba Hilkiah was the son of Honi's son. Whenever the world needed rain, the rabbis would send to him. He would pray and rain would come. Once the world was in need of rain, they dispatched two rabbis to ask him to pray for rain. When they arrived at his house, he was not in, so they went out to the fields and found him Honi. They greeted him, but he did not reply.
Okay, so we're gonna have several different things that occur which do not make a lot of sense. So we're gonna have some explication at the end, but each one of these things, it's going to be like, okay, he did what and why? So next one.
Toward evening, he gathered sticks. He put the spade and sticks on one shoulder and draped his garment on the other. He did not wear shoes the whole way. He put them on only when he came to water. Where there were thorns and briars, he raised his cloak, exposing his flesh to them. When he arrived back in town, his wife adorned herself to come out and greet him. When they arrived at the house, his wife entered first. He followed, and the rabbis followed him. He sat down to break bread, but did not invite the rabbis to partake. He broke bread for the children. To the elder he gave one portion, to the younger two. Then he said to his wife, I know the rabbis are here on account of rain. Let's go up on the roof and pray. So if the Holy One, blessed be He, is willing to send rain, we will not need to claim credit for ourselves.
So the footnote.
I'm sorry. That is, the rabbis would not see that he had anything to do with it.
So in other words, before they actually ask him to pray for rain, he's gonna see if he can just articulate it.
He
So
could see
where
if he
are the
what?
rabbis at this point?
They're in the same household, so
Uh-huh.
it was
But he didn't
his
invite
wife
them.
and then him, and then the rabbis came. They broke bread, gave the kids bread, and then he says to his wife, let's just
He gives the oldest one portion, and he gives the younger
Youngest
one
one
two. Why?
we're gonna,
Get there.
But it sounds like the rabbis just kind of made themselves at home. They said
They
rabbi.
followed him. Yeah.
They followed him in. They made themselves at home. Those rabbis weren't invited to break bread.
well, no, they weren't invited to do that, so we'll find out soon.
That's not the norm, not to give the rabbis.
All of these things are not the norm. All of these things are not the norm. So,
They went up to the roof. He stood in one corner and she in the other, and the clouds started to form on her side.
okay, remember that piece.
So
So the
that's-
clouds of rain are forming on the wife's side.
That's not
Yes.
norm also. When they came back down, he went to the rabbis. What brings you here? They replied, the rabbis sent us to ask you to pray for rain.
Okay, so until that point, he didn't know, well, maybe he did because he was Honi, or Abba Hilkiah, but prior to that, they hadn't had a verbal conversation.
He said then, blessed be the omnipresent who has not put you in need of the services of Abba Hilkiah. They replied, we know that the rain came on your account, but will you please explain these strange things that you have been doing? Why did you not respond to our greeting? He replied, I was hired by the day and thought I should not neglect my work.
Okay, so what midah is this teaching? What attributes?
Work ethic.
Yes, exactly.
Why do you put the spade and the sticks on one shoulder and drape your garment on the other? He said to them, it was a borrowed garment. I had borrowed it for one purpose, not the other.
Okay, so he had borrowed it to wear, but not to protect himself from briars, which may have damaged the garment.
But why did you not wear shoes all the way, but put them on only when you came to water? He replied, all the way I could see what was underfoot, in the water I couldn't. Why, when you came to thorns and briars, did you raise your cloak, exposing your flesh to thorns and briars? The one heals, the other does not.
Huh?
What was it?
Well, the cloak, the garment
garment-
wouldn't heal.
I know that, because that's what we used to do
The,
when
the,
we were
the
children.
skin heals,
heals.
but the garment does not. So I spoke a little too soon. So the previous question was, why did you put the spade and sticks on one and drape a garment, not apparently the only garment, on the other? So he put them, on opposite shoulders instead of maybe putting them on the same shoulder, whatever. But this one is, the skin is healing, but the garment doesn't heal. So that's why he's raising his garment at that point.
That's very.
Well, I mean, are you
When you're something
supposed to let your thorns
Yes.
hit your skin to
Yeah.
scratch your skin?
Yes, because otherwise somebody's gonna have to repair and mend the garment, and if this was a borrowed garment,
Oh,
then
okay, okay,
who's gonna
okay, I'm
repair
sorry.
the garment, and it's gonna be not in the same good
Okay.
condition, right?
Okay.
But this is pretty usual. in
He's
places
protecting
where-
the garment from
Right.
getting ripped
Right,
from
right,
the
right.
horns.
He's
Because
keeping
it's
it from
borrowed.
being,
Okay, ripped,
Right,
Yeah.
destroyed.
exactly.
right,
Yeah.
degraded.
This is pretty
What?
normal for places where garments are
There, yeah,
expensive.
yeah, you can't just like run down to the store and get another one. Used to be the people actually had to make things, biting up door, mend them by hand.
Why, when you arrived back in town, did your wife adorn herself to come out to greet you, so that I would not set my eyes on another woman? Why did she enter the house first, you and me following? I did not know what sort of people you were and whether I could trust you with my wife.
Huh? Okay, so what'd he do? He walked in the house and left his wife outside?
No,
with
no,
him?
his wife went in first, he
Uh-huh.
went in behind her,
Uh-huh.
and then these additional folks.
Mhm.
So arguably, he was in the protective mode.
Mhm.
Why, when you broke bread, did you not invite us to partake? Because there was not so much bread in the house, and I did not want to incur your gratitude for nothing. Why did you give one portion of bread to the older child and two to the younger? Because the one remains at home, but the other attends to the synagogue for study and is away all day.
According to Rashi, and apparently the
They
one
got
who
fed.
is
The
getting
youngest.
fed, right,
The two that went to
the
synagogue
oldest
got
is
fed.
getting fed elsewhere.
So it's 2 meals.
Why did clouds form first from the direction of your wife when praying rather than in your direction?
And a more interesting question here.
Because a woman remains at home and gives bread to the poor, which is of immediate benefit, whereas I give only money, which is not of immediate benefit.
Okay, so this is reason number one. So
That the
reason
clouds
number
are
one is,
forming
what's that?
because the wife is giving immediate attention to need.
Right,
So she's the quicker response.
there you go.
So we have clouds of rain developing quicker with her.
Because she is apparently
immediate.
quicker at providing, right, help to the poor.
You can eat the bread, can't eat your money if you're
Right.
hungry.
Right,
So that's why I think immediate benefit is a very good phrase.
yeah.
And here we have, in contrast to Alan's pointing out that Adam was the last one in the curse.
Right, in terms
Here
of
we
dignity,
have the
right.
blessing coming to the woman first.
Okay, at least the attribute, yeah. Alternatively, because when the neighborhood was troubled by criminals, I prayed that they should die. But she prayed that they should repent, and then they did so.
Mercy.
Okay, this is also another theme that's echoed with Bruria and Meir. So Bruria prays that, or says, don't wish that these criminals would die, but please, make sure that they repent.
It sounds like even our current system as well.
Also,
Well, that when criminals happen, people will be very divided. Like this one, there'll be a group that says those people should get capital punishment. Then there'll be this other group that will say, but we can rehabilitate them. And rehabilitation would probably mean they have to repent, realize what they've done wrong, and then move on. So even in current society.
And usually Gevurah is the pillar of justice in Kabbalah, and that can be really strict, and it's associated with feminine. But yet here we have the feminine showing mercy, like Chesed, which is considered more masculine, so it's like polar in some ways.
I really like that the rain came on her side, Alan.
first.
It feels like some kind of...
Alan's not responding.
It sounds
She was
like
saying-
there
she
was
standing
like
on the
a
west, that's why.
power. It seemed like there was like this
Read
a
it
power
from the west
of
side.
I see.
women
And the woman showing mercy.
showering with the goodness to grow the food. It just, I don't know, seems
that
something
nice?
empowering that the
Yes.
woman had the rain.
Not only the rain, but the mercy,
Mhm.
so
So why were they standing at opposite
Compassion.
corners? What is that reminiscent of?
Well, is it reminiscent of the criminal should die and the other should repent? That's too
Why were they?
polarized?
Yeah, why were they the wife and the husband standing at opposite corners? Because this is actually a model that we have from Isaac and Rebecca that when she was childless, that they both prayed in opposite corners for a child.
Well, also,
And why in
Opposite
particular?
corners.
Also, the
Opposite
two
corners.
rabbis were men, and maybe they weren't supposed to be near her either. So maybe the two rabbis stayed with the male rabbi on his side.
What's
These
the
guys were
significance?
downstairs, they were on the roof.
Oh,
What's the
okay.
significance of standing in the opposite corners?
This is just the paradigm that has been handed down in tradition in terms of Isaac and Rivka. I mean, if we think about that particular situation, this is where that piece comes from.
So it's a repetition from its origins.
And other themes, yeah, just other themes, bringing in other themes that we know about.
Specific purpose for that.
There probably is. Probably if we did some digging, we'd find some references to
There-
it.
You know, in terms of Hasidic stories, we actually often read how a rabbi will start out in one corner of the room and either shuffle or daven and end up in the opposite corner of the room. So I just find it interesting in terms of logistics, why they're choosing a corner as opposed to not a corner, why mention that it's a corner? I agree, it's an interesting question, I don't have an answer to that.
Well, it just seems like nothing's mentioned lightly. Everything has some layer to it.
Purpose.
Every word.
All true. Okay, so we are at 1. We'll pick up with Mishnah chapter 4 next time. So Rabba, thanks for coming to hear about Honi today. Learn.